Bill Gates, one of the world's richest men, has said he warned Donald Trump about the threat of a global pandemic during a 2019 meeting with the U.S. President-elect in Trump Tower. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has spent hundreds of millions of dollars to find faster ways to develop vaccines and create disease tracking systems, but Gates still has regrets. The Microsoft founder-turned-philanthropist told the Wall Street Journal, "Looking back, I wish I had done more to call attention to the danger." Gates was criticized by Trump supporters in April after attacking the president's decision to slash WHO funding on Twitter. Halting funding for the Planet Health Organization during a world health crisis is as dangerous because it sounds, he said. While Bill and Melinda have pledged to offer most of their $100 billion plus fortune to charity, for now the Microsoft founder remains one among the richest people within the world. Here is who joins him in the exclusive club. 1. Jeff Bezos, $145 billion. The former hedge fund manager turned online bookseller started Amazon in his garage in 1994. Bezos has invested heavily in space technology and also owns the Washington Post newspaper. 2. Bill Gates, $106.6 billion. A permanent fixture at the highest end of Forbes' list for the past 20 years. The Microsoft founder has sold or given away much of his stake within the company. He owns just 1% of Microsoft, and now focuses predominantly on his philanthropic work. 3. Bernard Arnault, $91.6 billion. Arnault is the wealthiest European on the list. The Frenchman oversees an empire of quite 60 brands including Louis Vuitton and Sephora. And he recently overtook Gates to become the second richest man on the earth. 4. Mark Zuckerberg, $78.6 billion. Zuckerberg famously started Facebook in 2004 at the age of 19 and now is among the highest 5 richest men within the world. 5. Warren Buffett, $68.8 billion. Now in his 9th decade, the Berkshire Hathaway chief executive, referred to as the Oracle of Omaha, is one among the foremost successful investors of our time. Like Gates, he has pledged to offer away quite 99% of his fortune to charity. 6. Larry Ellison, $67.3 billion. Co-founder of software firm Oracle, Ellison stepped down as CEO in 2014, but still serves as chairman of the board and chief technology officer. 7. Steve Ballmer, $66.4 billion. The former Microsoft CEO led the company from 2000 to 2014 after joining in 1980 as employee number 30, having dropped out of Stanford University's MBA program. The same year he retired from Microsoft, he bought the Gazelle Clippers for $2 billion, says Forbes. 8. Larry Page, $63.3 billion. In 1998, Page co-founded Google with business partner Sergey Brin. He stepped down as CEO of Alphabet, Google's parent company, in December last year, but is still a board member. 9. Amancio Ortega, $61.9 billion. Ortega stepped down as chairman of Inditex, known for its Zara brand, in 2011, but he still owns nearly 60% of its shares. 10. Sergey Brin, $61 billion. The Google co-founder stepped down as president of Alphabet in December, although remains a member. He spends a lot of time on Alphabet's Moonshot Research Lab X, for a roundup of the four most important stories from around the world and a concise, refreshing and balanced Combat the Week's news agenda, try The Week magazine. Start your trial subscription today. What about the UK? James Ratcliffe, the founder, chairman and majority owner of chemical powerhouse Ineos Group, is the richest person in the UK, according to Forbes. Ratcliffe was raised in a Manchester council house, and has climbed the chemical corporate ladder to amass a personal worth of $13.9 billion. Shortly behind him in the UK are the billionaires Srikanth and Gopichand's Hindia brothers, who control the Hindia Group conglomerate, and are worth $12.4 billion combined. The Hindia Group is a family business originally founded in Mumbai in 1914, and now has interests around the world including in oil and gas, banking, and property, the BBC added. The richest woman in the UK is Denise Coates, the founder and joint chief executive of online gambling company Bet365. She is worth $7.7 billion, making her the 220th richest person in the world. Who is the richest person of all time? Bezos has been declared not only the wealthiest person alive but of all time. But while his estimated fortune is technically the largest ever accrued by one individual, this does not take into account inflation or a number of other factors, including how wealth is actually measured. With a fortune of around $400 billion, Mansa Musa, one of Mail, the first king of Timbuktu, may not be a household name, but by most estimates is the richest person who ever lived, deriving his wealth from his country's vast salt and gold deposits, which at one time accounted for half the world's supply. Musa ruled West Africa's Malian Empire in the early 14th century, constructing hundreds of mosques across the continent, many of which survive to this day. With all fortune estimated at between $300 minus $400 billion in today's money, Tsar Nikolai Alexandrovich Romanov, Nicholas II, of Russia was deposed and subsequently executed by the Bolsheviks in the aftermath of the Russian Revolution. The Independent notes that, following his canonization by the Russian Orthodox Church, he is also the richest saint in history. Excluding kings, princes and people who inherited their wealth, the list of the world's richest ever men, and that they are always men, is dominated by the so-called robber barons of 19th and early 20th century America. Often cited because the richest one that ever lived, Baron John D. Rockefeller, was the first person to have a net worth of over $1 billion in the money of the time. At the time of his death, his estate was worth an estimated $340 billion in today's money, almost 2% of total U.S. economic output.